Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is I am, the one and only, Sonic the Hedgehog here, aka the fastest thing alive, or the Blue Blur. So in some cases though, there's not much else to say about this. So, and I am from the likes of the Mexi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Ape Escape for the PlayStation, or on a PSP as a remake of Ape Escape P, or Ape Escape on the Loose if you ever played the American version, and alongside with that there's also the PS4 and the PS5 versions for the sake of the digital download versions only. So last time we've essentially did manage able to capture some more monkeys during the course of, let's just say, in the Dark Ruins, and as well as some couple of levels as well. But overall we actually did this not too shabby, and on top of that we somehow beat Buzz for the first time. Or technically, Jake, if you ever played the American version of the game, so relatively speaking though, it's all about just a race, you know. So today, for this video, is the fact that we're going to be hit on to the forms of the next stage. So once again, we do need able to capture, what else? Even more monkeys, and a lot of emphasis on swimming apparently, because as a result, not able to actually progress for the actual level itself like this. Well, basically, as you can tell, we now need to capture for about 5 of these monkeys. So, and I think, in order to able to get this monkey right there, I believe you do need able to actually utilize the, the actual, water net. So just to ensure that you won't able to capture him that way. But you have to be so accurate with all that angle shots, because if you somehow manage to did that, like I just did right there, then you would able to actually successfully manage to able to capture that monkey no problem. So, relatively speaking though, everything else will be pretty much in checks by that point. So, and something's worth mentioning though is the fact that, and also during forms within the last video, that basically we somehow managed able to equip ourselves the next gadget in the game, which appears to be body forms of a dash hoop. So that way it'll be coming very handy, especially noticeable that, as I mentioned this before, you can able to actually run at the speed of sound, and then as a result, take this part for example. That normally we get able to use the actual the light club kind of thing until you're able to actually just to deal with this little drawbridge. Well, in order able to make it by that point, well, that's what the dash hoop come into play. That way you don't need to necessarily worry about trying to able to get time over for the sake of certain parts of you know, the drawbridge. So, and of course that monkey got away, but that's okay, because we can still technically get him by simply able to do a lot of swimming, as well as utilizing the water net, so that way we can able to do just that, and I somehow keep on getting hit by the actual jackhammer, so, but we'll just go ahead and swim further away from that, alongside with the shark as well. But either way though, because chances are though is the fact that, well, hopefully by that time we can able to actually capture some more monkeys and journey forms within certain sections. Well, not all of them, mind you, as I said before, because we do need specific gadgets in order able to actually just to, like, you know, not only try to find some more of those Specter Coins, but also with the forms of, you know, trying to able to find and capture certain monkeys. So that'll be the actual best bet for that part. So, anyway, so a few things I want to explain what this is happening is the fact that, well, today's day is of course the 10th of January today, in this case in 2023 today, so not much else is going on, I'm afraid, apart from the fact that, well, relatively speaking, I think I'll let Maxi will able to point things out in journey forms of tomorrow's part of Donkey Kong 64, that basically, until tomorrow anyway, marks the 5th year anniversary of the release of the Nintendo Direct Mini from the likes of the forms of January the 11th in 2018, which I can't even believe it's been time flying all of a sudden, especially considering about the fact that, well, I usually got hyped for it back in the day, but then again though, I'll let Maxi will mention more about it until when he goes back into Donkey Kong 64, so, but I digress. Oh, and something's worth mentioning is the fact that KevKing74, he's basically almost done finishing up with the forms of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 Let's Play, because obviously he's now recently finished up with the Sonic story. So all he needs left now is the last story segment, which contains Probably a good boss fight at the end, but it also has the worst level in the entire Sonic series, or to be more specifically, the worst final levels in any other 3D Sonic games, and probably any other Sonic games in general, at least from my knowledge for the sake of time, because, you know, too much bullcrap on you, but that's just the way how it goes when it comes to, like, you know, the end of the world level. I'm sure that most people already know what I'm gonna say about this, so... Anyway, so now we're done with that particular level, so let's just go ahead and quickly save my game onto my memory card. So sure enough though is the fact that my memory card still works for the sake of the forms of my PlayStation 2. Well, relatively speaking though, because I'm obviously still using my PS1 memory card, because that might be the only method for doing it. Although technically you can able to actually just utilize your PlayStation 2 memory card if you wanted to, but I couldn't seem to able to figure this out for myself, so probably I might be biased when it comes to likely utilizing the original form factor for specific accessories in mind, so... Anyway, so now we're done with that, and also I just realized I'm actually technically missing something, but of course I will be back for it. So anyway, so now we're done with that, and now let's go ahead and move on to the next level, which is Dexter's Island. So, this should be interesting. But, relatively speaking, we need to get, oh jeez, 11 monkeys in this entire stage, but ultimately though, we need to capture 6 of them, so... Let's see how this goes, hey? It's quite quiet around here, especially I get the feeling about the fact that the main gimmick of the stage is that I'm pretty sure that we do need able to get inside Dexter himself, so... Which, it kind of reminds me of something related to that one of those dungeons in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, that I'm sure most of you already know what I'm talking about, so... But I digress. So of course, that tomorrow, that Mario Kart Tour is going to be hosted in the next tour coming up tomorrow, as far as what Maxie has already mentioned about, ever since in yesterday's video of Donkey Kong 64. That is the fact that, yeah, we're going on to Space Tour for tomorrow, so... And so far, from the sake of the Forms of the New Year Tour, so far, that I seem to doing quite alright. Well, despite the fact that, well, I just keep on getting screwed over by not only bad controls, but also the battle mode is 10 times as awkward than the forms of how it does it on the Wii U version of Mario Kart 8, at least in my opinion, because, for the love of God, whenever I play online battle modes, somehow, I keep on losing somehow, probably because of the forms of too many emphasis on well, let's just say the forms of RNGs here and there, and on top of that, it's just bad controls in general, at least from my experience anyway, so... Anyway, so there's the Specter Coin on this particular boat, but before I obtain that, well, I somehow obtained it right now, actually, and hopefully I'm also able to try to grind as many of those extra lives as far as I possibly can, so just to ensure about the fact that the game gets a bit difficult as you progress, so... Well, it's not so bad for this point right now, but it's just about the fact, no matter is whenever we get to a later portion of the game, that is when the game gets a bit tough and difficult at points. Oh yeah, I should probably also mention about this actually, is the fact that not only has it been a very, very, very long time since we've actually last did the actual PlayStation Let's Plays, well... I've already mentioned about this briefly, that not only do we able to actually completely done with the forms of our Let's Plays of Klonoa Daughter Phantomile, alongside with Pac-Man World for the PlayStation, but also same place with Toy Story 2 for the PlayStation 1, which I suppose I forgot to mention about it, until now anyway though, so I do apologize for able to actually missing out on that specific game I was talking about, but... Either way, because I somehow managed to almost got myself my, memory loss, I guess, but either way though, that's as far as saying goes, I think that's as far as I can try to describe it, so... Oh, speaking of such, there's another Specter Coin down there, so we easily managed to obtain that, no problem. So yeah, this bit right there does remind me of one of those, dungeons in the game, specifically inside the Jumbo Jumbo, dungeon from the likes of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, because obviously you're exploring the inside portion of Dexter as opposed to Jabu Jabu, so Yeah, again, it kind of reminds me of that, except, well, rather than just trying to able to actually just to defeat... Excuse me, I've got something stuck in my throat there, I do apologize for that. But, ultimately though, we're capturing, specific monkeys inside, Dexter itself, which I honestly have no idea how certain monkeys to somehow manage to entering inside, you know, Dexter in the first place. But either way though, I guess video game logic, I guess. So, anywho, and also this place does remind me of exploring the inside portion of Monstro from the likes of the forms of Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, and also say applies with, well, technically speaking, a Monstro's portion in Dream Drop Distance, although despite the fact that it just calls it Prankster's Paradise, or PP for short. But either way though, as far as saying goes, that it does kind of remind me of that, except it doesn't utilize the forms of the RPG elements, although unlike in Kingdom Hearts, that it does utilize RPG elements like experience points, but it's also a lot of emphasis on action and platforming, so nothing turn-based or anything else like that, unlike in one of those segments in Kingdom Hearts Recoded on the DS if you explore for Olympus Coliseum, so... But I digress. And, oh yeah, something's worth mentioning, speaking of Kingdom Hearts, the original though, that apparently though, this year will mark the 10th anniversary at some point of the release of Kingdom Hearts 1.5 or HD 1.5 remix on the PlayStation 3, specifically in Japan though. Well, it wasn't until when it gets to the point until this coming March, then exponentially we can able to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of that particular really good compilation game. So, but that wasn't until, as I said before, we'll get to March in that time. So, oh, we're sliding down. But that's okay, because we can just simply be safe in water, so nothing else can able to actually kill us at the moment. So, anywho, so another thing I would like to mention, in terms of the forms of another game is going to be celebrating its 10th anniversary, that's what appears to be by the forms of Sonic Dash. Specifically, the first ever mobile Sonic game that has been made something more original, as opposed to the forms of the actual port from the likes of not only Sonic the Hedgehog 1, but also Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as well. Like, I do remember back in the day, whenever I first managed able to borrow Shadow's iPhone, specifically iPhone 3G or 4 to be more specific, that I recently managed able to try out not only Sonic the Hedgehog 1, but also Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as a port to the Mega Drive / Genesis game. Well, eventually later on though, that thankfully we've got ourselves a remastered version of that particular two games in one. Oh, speaking of which though, is the fact that the Christian Whitehead remastered version of Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 is also getting its 10th anniversary treatment as well. Like, since we're now on 2023, but either way though, that can wait until the future days, because we not exactly got to that point yet, so... But don't worry, we'll promise you guys we will able to get around to it though, so... But yeah, as I said, that this level is going to be filled to the brim with a lot of swimming involved, which means about the fact that we need to keep on diving to able to go through the next couple of sections or something. So, in some cases though, oh, I see there are some two monkeys over there. But, exponentially, I don't think we can probably able to make it up there anytime soon, because... Well, still, we can able to actually capture about 6 or so monkeys, even though, mind you, we actually capture quite a few of them so far, so, anyways, let's activate that switch here. Oh, yeah, something tells me we need to use the hoop dash, but, before we get into that, though, let me double check what's beyond. Actually, I might not go there just yet, though, but maybe at another time. So, anyways, let's go through here and dash our way through for the door like that. So, hopefully, we're able to capture some more monkeys onto that section. So, and I think we only down to 2 left before we're able to progress. So, and there's no way we can able to actually get up there. So, oh, jeez, I somehow messed it up. Oh well, but at least he'll come back down for it, I guess, so... Yeah, it's gonna be one of those times about the fact that you can't go up there with your dash hoop because the actual the slant right there is actually a bit higher. So either way, there's another locked progressioning if you do somehow manage to capture quite a few monkeys there. So hopefully you would be able to actually progress if you do manage to able to do that task. So excuse me, I'm really sorry about this point, folks, because for some reason, when I was eating grapes recently, specifically red grapes, that basically though, all of a sudden my throat almost seems to get croaked up all of a sudden. But I digress, I'm still fine as it is. So, in fact, let me know in the comments down below for the question of the day. What is your favorite variation, or what's your favorite color of your grapes? Do you like the green ones more, or the red ones just because it's a lot more juicy and sweeter compared to the forms of how it does in green? I like both, but I do really enjoy the red ones more, just because, well, obviously to me, not only does the red grapes looks a lot more delicious, but it also tastes a lot sweeter and juicier than the forms of how it does in the green ones, in my honest opinion. I'm sure everyone else have their own different opinions for this taste as well, but either way, that's as far as saying goes, that's about it. So, oh yeah, we do need to take down these weird looking things itself, by the way, in order to able to get that monkey, which again, it does kind of reminds me of one of those boss fights or mini bosses from the likes of Ocarina of Time for the Zelda games. That basically though is the fact that you have to simply just hit them. Then once you're done hitting them, 4 of them, then the actual cage that usually contains a monkey inside it will obviously brings us to, well, it's hard to explain really, because I know for a fact it's been about, I would say 5 days ago since we've actually last touched this game. But either way though, because obviously we are, you know, about to get started with the forms of, you know, how the fact that we actually on the 10th day of 2023 so far. So, looking good so far, especially considering about the fact that hopefully we're able to get some more, tons of information about certain stuff in the future, and on top of that, some exciting stuff as far as, you know, hype is concerned. But that won't be for a little while, mind you, because obviously about the fact that we're still in the beginning portion of the year, so. But I digress, so let's go ahead and save our game quickly. And how much percentage we actually on to? 23.3%. Not bad. Especially considering about the fact that not only do we capture several monkeys, but also we actually collected quite a few Specter Coins so far. So anyways, let's get into this little warp panel, or the stage selection screen again, just to ensure that we will come across into the new environment, which is Ice Age.
Spike, it will be extremely cold in this next age. The Earth has gone through a number of cold periods like this one, which is called the Ice Age. The gadgets will help to protect you from the cold, but be very cautious.
Although, as far as I'm aware, that we're probably not going to be able to get a new gadget anytime soon, so in some cases though, oh, so it looks like we only need to capture it for about 5 monkeys out of 6 in this level we're going to be dived right into. And there's only 1 Specter Coin to be found in, this level is called Frozen Ocean, by the way. So just to ensure you probably get the idea of what this level is actually known as. So, oh, speaking of the forms of level names, as well as the forms of some monkey names that I suppose I forgot to mention about, that every once in a while, between the forms of in, not only the European version, but also the North American version as well, not only do they have the forms of different names for specific monkeys, but also the different names on different levels. So in some cases though, yeah, I don't know how they managed able to actually change certain names in between both the European version and the American version, but either way though, I was able to think about the list of those specific stuff for the likes of the forms of today's discussion, but I've honestly lost track on it, probably because about the fact that I'm still playing the European PAL version most likely, so relatively speaking though, nothing else to able to come by for as such, so. And also, short things worth noting for is the fact that, well, I can't even believe it's been about 3 years ago since we actually technically got the first ever Nintendo Direct for the sake of the forms of how the fact that, well, you know what the forms of the Pokemon Direct that we actually had in the past years or so? That I do remember that one little thing in mind, that in the beginning portion of the worst year we've ever experienced, which is of course, you know, was 2020. So in some cases though, we've got the Pokemon Direct as opposed to a traditional general Nintendo Direct. And I was like, okay, that's a bit different at first. Whenever I look back on it though, for about 3 years ago now, so relatively speaking, oh, there's the Specter Coin just right up there. So it's actually not too difficult to find. So I think for the most part though is the fact that I'm pretty sure the majority of the Ice Age themed levels that is going to be self-explanatory as far as I can usually just try to able to say about this. Well, apart from the fact that if you dare touch the frozen water, then basically you jump out of it immediately, and I believe you lose your bit of health. So, yeah, be very careful about the forms of frozen water, because obviously you probably expect able to lose a lot of health if you keep on touching that, so... And also I found this a little bit satisfying is the fact that certain monkeys are now wearing different outfits depending on what specific level themes they go into, which is always a cute touch, I might add, especially that just like in Mario Party 2, that basically though, is that Manny from Ice Age? Nah, that can't be right, especially because, well, this game came out, well, let's just say 3 years before the first Ice Age film came out, which is in some cases, though, the first ever Blue Sky Studios film. So in some cases, though, again, it's a bit of a shame that Blue Sky Studios has been dead now, because obviously I highly doubt we're probably not going to have Rio 3 or anything else like that, which just kind of sucks, honestly, because... well, you probably already know how that happened, but I don't feel like trying to talk about that again, because, well, I mean, let's face it though, it's just in the past, you know? I mean, between both, not only Blue Sky Studios, but also Alpha Dream, that those two companies have been shut down due to the forms of, you know, multitude of factors, ranging between not only because of the forms of, well, I don't know how do I say for this point right now, because I know for a fact it's been a very long time, especially since then, about the fact that it's been about 4 years ago since when Alpha Dream also managed able to shut down due to the forms of the bankruptcy after the forms of the release of Mario Luigi Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey, despite that game didn't sell well and is probably one of the worst selling Mario games ever, which is a shame honestly, because either way, it's such a great addition to the actual 3DS library of games, but it's just about the fact the matter is though, probably because of the criticism with the forms of the remakes music, or perhaps even maybe the art style wasn't really fitting at all, or maybe because of the forms of the lifespan of the late 3DS's lifespan or something, so... oh wow, I simply managed to able to just not only stun the monkey, but also destroy that machine during the forms of whenever when that monkey's got stunned, so... that's pretty cool. So anyways, let's go ahead and find our way to able to... oh, that's the last monkey we need to get. Now I'm pretty sure that we've almost done with the forms of Frozen Ocean level, which is pretty surprising, considering about the fact that, well, we actually managed able to capture certain monkeys in the quickest way imaginable. Well, I highly doubt, I don't know if I can able to actually complete this entire era of Ice Age for this video, but definitely the next video for Thursday for sure. But it's all depending on time though, that's the only questionable thing about it. But anyway though, again there's not much else to say apart from the fact that, well, hopefully that I suppose I'll talk more details about the forms of Mario Kart Tour, Space Tour 2023 edition until specifically in a later time, because as far as what I already mentioned about this before, that Maxi will mention more about the forms of, you know, looking back on stuff for, you know, Nintendo Directs and everything in the past. But either way though, but I do remember that time when, it's been like 3 years ago, when basically they just somehow managed to disappoint us by able to actually bring Byleth from Fire Emblem 3 Houses coming into Smash Bros. Ultimate, which I know for a fact that in terms of hypeness though, it's actually very low back in the day, because everyone seems able to, like, on about with the forms of another Fire Emblem character. But anyway, Icicle Cave, so let's see what this level's all about.
Spike! A new gadget is completed.
This is a propeller to make you fly high. I will send these over. Try them out in your training space. If you don't clear the training, you cannot advance to the next stage. Well, good luck.
Oh yes, I was really looking forward to able to try out this awesome gadget in the whole game. This appears to be body forms of the air propeller, where basically in order able to perform this gadget is that you once again you have to use the right analog stick in order able to perform rotation movements, so that way you can able to actually do a ridiculous amount of propeller air momentum, so just to ensure you will able to reach higher places. So in some cases though, yeah, I can definitely see why a lot of people seem to think that this is by far the best gadget in the whole game, not only just trying to able to reach certain places, but also you can able to perform certain shortcuts as well as a lot of like skippable hazards that you can able to attempt to avoid, even having a hard trouble with the forms of certain situations, which I will say, this is certainly the most useful gadget in the whole game, and I consider this to be one of the greatest. So anyway, so now we're done with this particular training simulator, so now we can dive right into Icicle Cavern right now. So let's see how much monkeys we need to capture this time. Oh, just only 6. Out of 9 or 8, I can't really tell with the actual number transition right there. Oh, and another thing I would like to mention is the fact that the differences between the North American version and the likes of the European version of Ape Escape sometimes is the fact that the actual menu font, especially noticeable that, you know, this is the PAL version still, in this case the European version of the game, meaning that the actual pause font system shaped a little bit differently in comparison to the forms of how it does in the North American version. So I found it a little bit weird to able to actually have a different font like that. Although maybe because about the fact that, well, relatively speaking though, this is all new to me and everything. But regardless of such though, that might be seems the case. So, and also short things worth noting for is the fact that we've only got to the excuse me? How dare you knock me back? But that's okay, because the air propeller is going to be a godsend on this particular, you know, the later portion of the game, which, as a result, that maybe seems understandable. So, bad I digress. So, yeah, some things worth noting for is the fact that we're actually getting very close to the point that we've almost reached for about 650 subscribers, which I will say thank you for all for able to actually give us any support. Especially I appreciate it, because we've almost technically at 700 subscribers. That'll be the next goal, which is pretty strange about the fact that in each and every single year, we always get 100 in each year. So as a result though, it could be more likely like a weird pattern when it comes to likely obtaining certain subscribers in the past years, because relatively speaking, well, in during forms of, I remember that in 2011, whenever we first started this particular YouTube channel, the Maxi Toys itself, that I do remember about the fact that we didn't get that much subscribers though, because it's all new to us, and on top of that is the fact that we didn't get that much appeal back in the day, due to the forms of, you know, bad quality, as well as the bad commentary as well. But relatively speaking though, is the fact that until when, well, 2013 and all the way up to 15, when it comes to commentaries are okay, but as well as the capture footage itself, oh wow, it did literally say grandma right there. And they did say something, in this case they love her, I think is what it says anyway. So, oh wow, those guys can able to kick my butts in any moment, but hopefully I'm not gonna die to these airborne looking enemies like these, but well, thankfully we got ourselves a biscuit bag. So, actually, couldn't think about it. Every time whenever I do somehow manage to see a cookie or a biscuit as the item, it always kind of reminds me about the fact that I was so hungry for these things, even though despite the fact that I don't usually eat that much biscuits nowadays, especially I'm now more into like, you know, more chili dogs and also some tons of salad as well, but that's just the way I feel about it anyway. So, Anyways, let's see what's beyond in here. I don't think there's... Oh, there's another Specter Coin just right up there. So, huzzah. So, yeah. I guess that's as far as I can talk about. Oh yeah, remember when I mentioned this earlier about the fact that it's been about 3 years since when Pokemon Direct did manage able to make it appeared in the beginning of 2020, in this case before the actual downhill of that year exists. That in addition to that, I do remember that time when they did somehow manage able to reveal not only the DLC content for Pokemon Sword and Shield, in this case, the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra, I think that's what it says anyway, but also with the forms of a remake of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon based off of the likes of the first installments. So, like usually, you know, based off of Blue Rescue Team and Red Rescue Team, both on the DS and the Game Boy Advance respectively, but now they just turn it into the forms of a full-fledged remake called Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX, which is basically just a remake of the original 2 of those games, respectively. So, which, in the end though, that I didn't usually get the game in day 1 back in the day, because most of the time though I was waiting, I remember that time I was waiting for, you know, more games to come out during the Forms Event 2020, but it wasn't until when everything else goes all downhill. Remember that time about the fact that we had to deal with the pandemic and everything? But either way though, because I somehow skipped over, you know, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Rescue Team DX for sure, because I do remember playing the DS games back in the day, but it doesn't seem to interest me as much, probably because of the forms of the stiffest movement, especially noticeable with the combat. It just feels a bit stiff in my opinion, but either way though, that's for my honest opinion's taste I suppose, but that's just the way I feel about it, so... But anyway though, so, yeah, let's just go ahead and continue, and something tells me we got ourselves the returning boat mechanic, but, sure enough though, especially noticeable now we've actually got some more gadgets to our disposal, we can technically also just try to able to actually just to like skip this boat sequence, but I feel like I'm just gonna able to actually just ride on the boat anyway, just to ensure that, exponentially speaking, you can also technically try to able to skip the actual boat sections if you find the controls a bit weird to use. But regardless of such though, I'm just gonna able to practice this boat controls for the last time for this Let's Play, because I don't know about you, it just feels very, very weird to me, but that's just what I feel about it. But first, let me go ahead and grab myself the final Specter Coin in this level, so it's actually not too bad. For the sake of the forms, we're trying to able to find some Specter Coins in this level right here, so nicely done and easy going. So, and I don't know about you, but I feel like I was having an easier time on the forms of the Ice Age level world like this. Oh, and by the way, there are a few rare occasions where you do need able to battle against with certain monkeys riding on the forms of the UFOs like this one right here, that basically we do need able to utilize the actual club gadget, so just to ensure you can able to deal the amount of damage to the actual UFO itself. But there's also another way you can able to actually deal the damage on the UFO, but that won't be until for likely or so for later on, so... Anyways, there goes that monkey over there. Now we can simply capture it before he shoots us like nothing else. And yeah, it feels like we've almost done with the forms of that particular level as well. So, I think for what I'm gonna do, that in terms of by the end of this video basically, I feel like I'm about to able to 100% everything in those 2 levels combined, which are, you know, Frozen Ocean and Icicle Caverns. So just to ensure that we're able to get these 2 levels, you know, completely done and over with for, you know, completion requests. So, anyways, let's save my game quickly, so just to ensure that I don't lose my save progress. So, yeah, everything else will be come together at that point, so... And sure enough, we're able to save, so... And I think we're now on to the point where we're now on to the first quarter of the game right now. So, either way though, that we're pretty much almost at the halfway point in terms of 100%ing the game, so... That's how it goes, hey? Especially about the fact that, well, eventually that the levels themselves might get a bit lengthy and longer as you progress. But either way though, that's as far as saying goes. Monkey Hot Springs. Let's not do that level because, well, first of all, let me go ahead and hit back onto, yeah, let's hit back into the forms of ancient plane quickly. Because there's one last monkey we need to capture on that level. And thankfully, we've got ourselves the propeller. So that means we can able to capture the final monkey on that level. So, and that pretty much takes care of the forms of the majority of the forms of the Prehistoric era. So, yeah, you see these monkeys from the left side of the level? Well, that's no longer there because obviously we somehow captured them. So, anyways, there goes the last monkey on the first level in the game. So, nicely done. Especially that, I just really love the fact that, wow, it kind of feels a bit similar to the forms of in Super Mario 64, where if you manage able to actually access to certain stuff throughout the game, then basically you can able to revisit the previous levels that you've already been to, and hopefully you can able to capture the rest of the monkeys there. So, because kind of thinking about it, those monkeys do kind of reminds me of, you know, obtaining the power stars in Super Mario 64 basically. So, but that's just the way I feel about it anyway, but I digress. So yeah, we basically now completed everything in a Prehistoric era, meaning we've got every single Specter Coins in that era, and also we've got every single monkeys on that era as well. So, and as far as the rest of it goes, well, we will promise you we will be back for those previous selected levels in the future though, because obviously we still need to get, you know, some more gadgets there. So, anyway, so we've only got one monkey left for, you know, this particular level we can go back into, so.
Let's go.
And sure enough, if we managed able to use the monkey radar, well, first of all, let me go ahead and, yeah, we'll might as well use the monkey radar anyway. And sure enough, we found one, which is hey hey, so in some cases he's monkey. So we do need to find that one specific spot that we do need able to actually find that monkey somehow. So sometimes it can be located in the forms of some longer distances, whilst most of the time though you're gonna have to do a lot of memorization in order able to actually figure out where exactly he is though. But just to ensure you don't able to actually get a nerve-wracking experience like I've almost did right there. Especially considering about the fact that I'm almost going to be dying right here. But I'm sure there's a way I can able to actually skip some good chunks of the level, but I highly doubt about the fact that it might actually screw me up with those invisible walls. So, let's not get of ourselves for those invisible walls, so we'll just go ahead and do this the normal fashion way. So, that maybe seems a little bit more obvious as far as this is concerned, but still. And I believe that something tells me about, oh, I just realized about something, is the fact that one thing I did not actually realize is the fact that recently, well, I don't know if it's like legitimate or not, but for what I've seen, the actual like Twitter accounts for the sake of the forms of something related to Oreos, apparently though, they somehow managed able to make, oh, is it possible I could able to actually do a nice little shortcut just to able to skip some good chunks of the level? I don't know about you, but either way, I suppose I'll let Maxi will mention more about it until whenever he, you know, goes back onto Donkey Kong 64, basically, so. And sure enough, he's almost pretty much done with the forms of Angry Aztec, although sure, there might be still a lot of exploration to deal with for Angry Aztec, but either way though, that might be something worth noting for, so. Alright, so let me just try this again. Oh, so close! I was literally so close to reaching up there. Okay, come on you. Come on, Spike. You can do this. Hey, there we go. Now we've actually skipped a good chunk of the level, so no need to worry about the forms of just trying to do a bit of a waiting game from that particular spinning platform. So, okay, so he's definitely around here somewhere, so, but thankfully we can use the propeller, so that makes the entire journey a lot more easy to manage, so, because I'm pretty sure down there, that's where it takes us all the way back to the beginning, so, but if we go over here on the other hand, then there he is, right here. So, hello, hey, having a good deals? Well, aside from the fact that, well, I just sneakily, you know, trying to able to capture you while you're staring around in this nice little icy sculptures or anything else like that. But hey, at least I did somehow capture you, so there we go. That basically concludes this particular stage. So yeah, pretty swell. So I think we're about to do one more level, which hopefully it wasn't gonna be too long, because I was originally trying to able to go into like Monkey Hot Springs, but again, we'll save that up and doing at some point until this Thursday. So anyway, so that does it for Frozen Ocean. Icicle Cave, here we go, just to able to capture the last few monkeys. And I'm sure enough, there's no need to worry about the forms of trying to get those Specter Coins, because we've already obtained them, so. And if I recall correctly, there are only 4 monkeys left, if I was assuming so anyway, even though I think I've lost count on it though, because I couldn't pay attention to the forms of the actual UI and stuff, because obviously I blame my preview window for capture recordings, but either way though, sometimes it's very hard to tell, so. Anyway, oh yeah, there's also some things worth mentioning though, is the fact that yeah, I've already read the comments from the likes of not only in Donkey Kong 64, but also Mario Slam Basketball recently as well. That, you know, with the forms about the fact that one of those comments did state about the fact that one of those preschool shows, both Teletubbies and Pingu, do manage to able to actually contain certain scary moments in these specific segments. Like, I know for a fact that for one thing, a lot of people seem to able to already done certain research with those two preschool shows in mind. That basically though, one of those segments contains, you know, the bear and lion for Teletubbies, and well, specifically the original version of it. Whilst in the forms of in Pingu though, it contains the realistic version of the walrus, which is a lot more terrifying whenever you're able to think about it. That's how the fact that in the UK country, like we in the UK, that generally speaking though, that a lot of parents seems to able to have a lot of criticizing for the sake of the forms of how these scenes plays out. Back in the forms of in very long time. But I can definitely tell you why these two scenes, respectively, they are very frightening. So, at least for certain kids, and even more so for toddlers, which is pretty much just a screwed up viewing. So, but I digress. So yeah, let's not talk about that right now, because obviously we need to take care of the forms of, well, the last few monkeys we need to capture in Icicle Caverns. So. But I digress. So, again, there's not much else you can say, because obviously about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, that I think, generally speaking, we almost at the halfway point, in terms of the first month of 2023 already. Oh god, I completely forgot those, I completely forgot about these missile-looking monkeys. They are back again. But hopefully we're not gonna able to screw this up this time around though, because, well, hopefully we'll try to able to be as a little bit more accurate if possible. So, hopefully, there it goes, we can stun him, there we go. Whew, that's definitely a bit tricky to able to capture sometimes. But I digress. Alright, so let's just go ahead and go through here. And use the propeller in the process. Although, speaking of Pingu, in terms of the forms of the walrus scary, terrifying episode, thankfully, when I was a kid, I've never come across into that. Unlike the bear and lion, on the other hand, though, I've come across into that as a kid, and because of that, it did scare the hell out of me back in the day. But I don't feel like trying to look back on it right now, because obviously I'm now grown older, and I moved on to another franchises like, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog, such as myself, and Mario, and you name the rest. So, but that's just for my feelings about it, so. And if I recall correctly, we've only got about, I would say, one last monkey in this level, so maybe I somehow missed count on it though, because we somehow got about 3 left, so, because I didn't pay attention to that at all since the beginning, so. Anyways though, so let's go ahead and climb for these little slopes, and from here we'll get ourselves the final monkey in the Icicle Caverns level, while trying to able to deal with those annoying Sprout-like enemies. And there we
Well
go.
done.
Nicely done, and there's no need to utilize the boats with it too. So, yeah, pretty cool, I might add. I think I'm also able to not use the boats that often, just to ensure about the fact that if I'm having some bit of struggles with the forms of certain controls and stuff like that, to able to utilizing it, so...
Did it!
Yep, I certainly did it, Katie. Or Natalie, if you ever played the American version. So, but either way, that pretty much takes care of not only one of the levels in the Prehistoric era, but also 2 of those levels in the Ice Age level. So, well, usually relatively speaking, we pretty much 100% 3 levels so far, which is always, you know, fantastic at the same time. So, anyways, let's save our game here. 31.7% done, so nicely done. So, I think suffice to say for this point, folks, is the fact that we're pretty sure we'll end things off this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Ape Escape. Is that we are moving on to Monkey Hot Springs. So see you guys on Thursday. Later, fellas.